There are a shocking number of things that you can buy in War and Order, and although this is designed to give you lots of custom things that might fit whatever need you have on your account, it's definitely confusing as a new player who's trying to figure out what actually is high value and what isn't. So stick around in this video for the highest value things that you can purchase in War and Order based on my experience over the last 3.5 months spending a good amount of money in this game to try to get progress. This is the guidance I would have given myself 3.5 months ago when I was just starting out. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming and this video is sponsored by the makers of War and Order. And at this point in my journey, I'm 3.5 months into the game. I've got Castle level 30 cooking up. I've got Lord level 38. I've got some pretty sick stuff going on with my beast and also with my artifacts. And I mention all of that because yes, to get to this position, I have been spending. But I do want to call attention to the fact that a lot of progress could have been obtained on this account if instead of spending, and I had actually more time to play the game, and if I was running multiple farm accounts, if I was actually transferring those resources over to a main, man, let me tell you, the amount of progress you can get just from having your own farms and managing that is really astronomical, but it also is a big time investment, a time investment that I can't afford to make. And on the topic of being able to afford things, I do want to say at the start of the video that I am not a financial advisor. This is not going to be financial advice. However, if you're going to spend in a mobile game, consider your real-life priorities, things like saving for retirement, having an emergency fund, prioritizing your family, getting out of credit card debt, or staying out of credit card debt. When I purchase in mobile games, it is with disposable income. It is not with credit card debt. So I just want to establish at the front to make smart life choices. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, and let's actually get to the spending advice if you're going to spend in War and Order. Now, there are a lot of high leverage things that you can get here. And what I found so confusing as a brand new player is I didn't even know what half the currencies were that were showing up in these shops. I didn't know which things I would actually find like valuable to purchase versus things that I could farm up on my own or would get over time. And so let me start and break this down, I think, by starting with the highest value deals that there are, which it should not be too sort of surprising that these are going to be subscription-based deals. And then I'll get into some of the best bundles that show up periodically, and then I'll get into other things that are sort of high return. But the overall philosophy for how you think about spending in this game is that you can get an insane amount of different things in this shop, whether you want to be training troops or working on your beast or totems or artifacts or whatever it is. So the question becomes, how do you get the most stats per dollar? And it's kind of a boring way to think about it, but look, like if I can get stats really, really quickly, really cheaply off my beast, then that's a better way of doing it than off my artifacts. And although the common guidance is that you should put a lot of emphasis into your artifacts, especially if you're spending, I will say the amount of money you have to spend per stat point is really relatively high to work on artifacts compared to some other things. With that said, the other thing that's a little weird about this game is that as you actually progress your account, things will become harder and harder to obtain. So once you sort of get a sort of level of achievement here, like I've got this 3-star Athena's Aegis, to get this to the next star level is going to cost me way more of the Athena's Aegis fragments to actually get the next level to get more stats. So things get increasingly sort of expensive as you work to level them up. Okay, that context out of the way, and that is really important context for how to think about what you invest in, and invest is used very, very loosely. Okay, this is a mobile game, not, but okay. So let's talk about the highest leverage thing. The highest leverage stuff starts right over here, the monthly benefits card packs. The Supreme card and the Value card deliver. And the reason that they are very strong value is that they save you a ton of resources every single time you're going to go and build something. And for me, as someone who's pressed for time, this is astronomical. Now, they give other benefits as well that I found, yeah, they're pretty important, like having equipment setup feature, one-tap equipment. Okay, this is a lot of words to say. Presets for equipment, presets for artifacts, presets for beast skills. Like the Value card definitely delivers on value. I use these presets all the time. To show you what that looks like, I make my way over to here in the drill grounds. I go to fast equip, And this is where I've got presets where actually I'm not hunting beasts right now. So we switch it over to combat for my artifacts, hospital cap in case I get attacked over here, and then gathering. Actually, that was in the correct spot, I think. So anyways, all that to say, these are really, really high value. And if you're busy or you aren't going to set up a zillion farms, these are super high leverage. Plus you get a daily reward from these, which is pretty solid as well. The Supreme card costs more than the Value card. Obviously, Value card is going to run you about $7, or you can get it 20 for 3 months. And then the Supreme card, if I were to renew this, it's $20 a month, or $55 if you wanted to get it for 90 days on sale. These, however, were not the only subscriptions in this game. If I make my way back out of the sort of benefits shop here, I can show you that there also is a subscribe option. So I just was showing you benefits. Now I can show you subscribe, and there's somewhere else you can subscribe over here. One of these is, I believe, for $3 a month, and the other is for another like $6 or $7 a month. And what I'm gaining is monster attack speed, research speed, attack and hit point boost, and the premium rewards is delivering all of these items to my inbox every single day. These to me felt like pretty high value in the grand scheme of things, in part because these diamonds let you get rainbow coins, I guess, let you get city themes. City themes give you stat boosts, and they do look really freaking cool. And also, look, gold coins are pretty valuable in the grand scheme of things. So these are the subscriptions that I found, anyways, that I found to be really high value in the grand scheme of things and have a really solid return, especially in the start of the game when you are doing a ton of building. And then in the late game, like, the presets are really valuable as well. There are, however, other things that you can subscribe to in this game. If I make my way back to benefits, there are benefits packs. Now, benefits packs offer different things. You can choose the one that you are most interested in if you're going to pick one up. But the most commonly acquired one, I think, is the auto attack for your hunting monsters. This is a huge time saver. Instead of having to search for monsters, I literally can go to a series of presets, say hunt this level of monster with this set of army, and it will literally go take care of itself. The only downside is that you still do need to open AP. I guess you could tell it to open AP potions as well, I think, but then you need to also heal your hospital. And so if you're not actually watching or checking in, it can definitely be a bit of a pain in the butt to come home to a massive amount of troops in your hospital. The other thing that's different about this benefits pack and these sort of subscriptions you can do that I was not used to is that each time you pick one of these up, it increases your noble benefits level. And the higher your noble benefits level, the more things you have access to in the benefits shop. So if you are doing a lot of spending, you'll ultimately accumulate a lot of gems, and a non-trivial amount of those gems you will probably go and spend in the benefits shop. I'm almost noble level 12, which I believe is the max level, but I guess if more levels pop up, I'll figure it out as I go. If I smash the little benefits details button here, it looks like I can scroll only to level 12. So the more noble benefits level you have, the more each of these packs will give you, which, look, I've picked these up because I am an extremely busy human. I think what you will notice, however, in this game is that no small number of people will advertise selling resources. And I think that some number of players will ultimately go do that. But if you get caught, you lose those resources. And I don't know what damage is done to your account, but like, look, I ain't risking it personally. I'm not the type to do that. So some number of people will try to set up resources that they buy from other players. That is something I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole because I just can't fathom it's worth the risk to the account. So all that to say, I've gone in and I've picked up these supplies because I think for the amount of money you spend, it's a moderate amount of resources, and I also wanted to get my noble level higher. From here, now we can actually look at the non-recurring or non-subscription or non-ongoing sort of purchases, and that has to do with, first, we'll go to the limited shop. Now, the limited shop is organized based on time frame. Daily, weekly, monthly, limited, and then custom. And then also the benefits packs that we were just talking about. I look at these every single day, but I'll tell you, here are the most important ones that I think are the highest value. And there's really just a couple bundles. The first is in the limited section. There is a choice artifact bundle that will show up. In fact, although I've already purchased it today, I can show you what's contained within it by making my way over to my mail We'll make my way to my favorites where I saved this. And here we are, the artifact exclusive custom level 1, 2, and 3. You pick the artifact that you want, and then you get 1, and then 3, and then 4 of the artifact of your choice. The dollar amount is relatively small for this, and per dollar that you spend, it seems like you can get more artifact fragments of the kind that you actually want this way than any other thing I've seen in the shop in its entirety. So this is a bundle that I tend to always pick up because I'm interested in that progress on my artifacts, and I've found it to be the best bundle available to go and get that progress. There are other bundles that I do pick up in the daily, weekly, and monthly specials, and I will say that a lot of people value these gems over here as one of the highest value purchases. I have found that for me, that's not necessarily the case because I do enough spending on other things that I have lots of gems, a high quality spender problem, I suppose. But I will call attention to the fact that there are holiday bundles that often show up over here in the limited section. There aren't any now. However, when they show up, they tend to be extremely high value, and they'll tell you that they are high value. They'll show you, instead of that little hot indicator, they'll show a really high percentage. In fact, why is it that none of these? There we go. They'll show you a really high percentage, like a 4,000+% return for the dollar. And that generally is a pretty good signal that if you like the things that are in that bundle, it could be a really solid pickup. In fact, if we make our way to the other shop, which is a little treasure chest in the upper right here, this is the regular purchase section. And in the Alliance, or I guess it's the other section, there is an Alliance pack that is shockingly high percent value for being in just this sort of regular purchase section of where you can buy things. And that is really high value. In fact, if I show it to you, I made a couple purchases from there as well. Alliance pack level 1 gives you a sense of what's in here. We've got Lord experience, training speeds, healing speeds, resources, and also Lord speed up and teleport gifts that you can share around, which I think are really fun morale boosters. So I'm into it. Alliance pack level 1, 2, and 3 are what I often will get. And then ultimately I will stop. I believe this is the $20 tier. For me, the resources are still super high value and accelerate my progression. And because I don't have a massive farm colony running, it is super high value to me to get those in kind of whatever way I can. For those of you that actually run a farm, or really many farms is what I'm trying to say, like a farm colony, then I think you'll find packs that focus less on resources and more on speed ups will be far more important. The other two areas where I've found sort of a surprisingly high return is if I go to my beast section of the regular shop, scroll your way over to this right over here. The beast talent packs for $5 and $10 actually seem to be a pretty solid return. And when I was just unlocking my beast talents, I was getting a shocking amount of stats for a relatively small amount of money up front, because of these beast elements are fairly low once you start putting talents onto your beast. Now, if you're newer to the game and you're like, beasts? What are you talking about? Talents for your beast? So once you hit a certain level on your beast, I think it was around level 16 or so, you unlock beast talents. And beast talents give further customization of what your beast can do. So for example, for 340 of that currency, I can get an increase to my hit points of infantry and cavalry, and also my attack of my infantry and cavalry from 12.6% to 14.1%. As I said, this is all about dollars per stat. And at some point, you're basically making choices saying to yourself, okay, like, would I put in this much money to get this many stats back? That's what it comes down to. Also, one other area that I found to be really high value since totems only recently arrived in the game is that even though if you go over to this section and you hit the totem portion, these bundles are listed as really low value, I found that I was getting a very high amount of stats for the amount of money that I was spending by putting in at the $5 and $10 tier of these bundles and then waiting every 3 to 4 days for them to refresh. Now, my totems are in a pretty good spot. I mean, considering that they came out, I don't know, some number of weeks ago here. But I have awakened my fertility totem, which gives me 4%. extra infantry hit points, which, I mean, I don't care about cavalry, so cav and infantry, but again, don't care about those calves, and a ton of other stats that I've unlocked. In fact, if we get a look at the stats overview here, it's 1.8 attack, 5.4 hit points, 3% cav attack, 5.4% cav HP, 1.8 archery HP, 3.6 mage HP, and infantry. I mean, you get the idea here. It's a bunch of stuff, plus the 4% on top of that. And this is just one of my totems. I've got another one as well. This isn't about showing off my totems. It's more about talking about the fact that based on the progression of your account and the things that are available to you, you could accelerate your progress to get a bunch of stats by virtue of spending on some of those things. And for me, I found totems to actually be a pretty moderate way to get a bunch of stats really quickly. Totems, by the way, will become available, I believe it's around Castle 26. So if you're not here yet, don't worry, you've got some time. And I made a dedicated video all about totems. Card will be up in the top. There's two other things that I want to talk about before I close out this video. One of them is the special War and Order coins. You can see that I've got a bunch of those already, and I find that picking up the War and Order coins is a lot easier from an accounting standpoint for me. So when I look at my credit card, it's not like a zillion charges for a tiny amount, right? Like $2, $3, $5, $10, $20 over and over. But to just have a single charge of $100 for me is a really nice convenience. I had no clue what the heck these were when I first started playing the game, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to use it. The W coins are just confusing to me. But then I just picked it up and I was like, okay, this is actually extremely intuitive. It basically switches over your bundles from showing in a dollar amount to showing in this War and Order coin amount, W coin amount. And again, instead of having a zillion charges on my credit card, which, by the way, I pay off every month. As I said, I don't get into credit card debt. Yeah, this is just an easier way for me to keep track of what the heck I'm spending on. The other area that I have not done any spending yet, but I suppose you could do, is the bonus gems. And there is a bonus amount of gems you get for a one-time, or for, I guess, the first time you purchase gems. And I've never gone in and purchased raw gems like this, but if you were to go in and spend $100, you get the bonus 25,000 gems. That, for like a one-time thing, could be worth doing if you want to push on something that is not actually available in the shop. As an example, you won't find VIP bundles almost ever. I've only seen them one single time in my entire time playing so far. So if what you wanted to do was push on VIP at the exclusion of other things and you didn't care about other stuff, then as an example, picking up the gems for the double gem could be an okay way to go. I recently gemmed my way to VIP 10, which as I was doing it felt kind of insane, but here we are. For the amount of gems I spent and the stats that I got, was it worth it? I don't know. From 9 to 10, I mean, the upgrade is pretty sizable. If we look here, I got 8% defense for all troop types. I got 8% attack for all troop types. A little bit of a raised wounded limit, which is super relevant given that our kingdom is in a constant state of civil war. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was worth it, maybe it wasn't. But you generally can't find bundles for this. So if you're going to just sort of drop gems into something, this could be a way to go. And I will point out that you can sometimes get VIP in places like the mysterious or mystery merchant ship over here. And if you do find VIP over here, I don't know, it's generally discounted, which is hard to get. So to summarize the advice I would give myself if I were traveling back in time to when I first started playing the game, the quick summary. One is that the ongoing benefits are pretty solid. The subscriptions are probably the way to go for high value delivered really quickly when you're trying to power up an account. That said, the value long-term of some of those subscriptions is access to the presets, which I use all the time, and they are actually pretty powerful to have on hand. When you're making purchases in this game, try to find the most stats per dollar. I found that some of the best bundles were the Artifact Custom and also the Alliance-based pack. I showed you where you can find those. However, based on the progression of your account, you could find high return in other places like Beast Talents or Totems. And I think the bonus gems could be valuable if you really wanted to gun for a lot of VIP. I don't know that most players necessarily should try to do that. If there's anywhere else that I missed in this video that's like ultra high value, definitely leave a comment down below. I'd be eager to see it. I suppose I could review every single pack that shows up in here, but I feel like the framework I've given you for making decisions, specifically to think like stats per dollar, how am I doing here, and to really ask yourself that, is probably the way to go, and you'll be able to assess for yourself which things are actually worth picking up. And again, the value of resources to you will vary based on how many farms you run. I can tell you, if I have more resources, I certainly have the speed ups to go and crank out a lot of really awesome things. I just don't have the resources. So depending on where your bottleneck is, you'll find that you get more or less value. Throw a like on the video if you found it at all helpful. Again, I am very eager for your thoughts down below. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.